Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Magnetic Minute of Hope. It's been a minute since I've been here with one of these episodes, and I wanted to bring in something a little more mystical for you today. Not that I don't often talk about those kind of things, but as always, I like for these episodes to be just little snippets of insight, things that I'm going through my own journey, my own pieces of embodiment, and bringing that to you. And right now we're going into this really powerful eclipse season. There's 2 eclipses happening this month. And I am no astrology expert, but I do often follow the energy of the solar system because that does impact the energy of the universe. And right now, there are these cosmic thresholds that are kind of stirring the pot, calling us inward, calling us upward, sometimes sideways in new directions. And everyone experiences these portals in their own way. And there's nuances to all of this, but I wanted to share my own personal, what's calling me into, what I'm being called into in this eclipse season. And so for me, the transits of these eclipses are activating these energies that are really deeply woven into my design. And it's my North Node and South Node. I'm going to explain what that is. And Gate 3 is my North Node, and 24 is my South. And these have been whispering to me for years, but this energy that's coming into play over the next few weeks is like really more like screaming. So while these may be my unique codes, I know the themes are archetypal, right? It's medicine for all of us. And so what I'm sharing is moving through me, I want you to see it as a mirror, not as a blueprint, but as a mirror. Because I really believe that when we explore these kind of personal embodiment pieces, when we do that personally, it becomes this portal for collective remembrance. And so I want to bring you into this to see what's real for you, what's true for you, giving you some things to contemplate. So what's been coming up is the Fool, the Pattern, the Pause. That's what I have called these now. And this is an invitation to change without clinging to what was, to soften my grip on mental loops that I didn't know I was addicted to let silence instead of strategy lead me, which has been really hard. And yeah, this is what I want to unpack. So let's first start with the first eclipse that's happening on, I think, the 7th. And Gate 3 for me is my North Node. So your North Node in your chart, this is the expansion point of your life. And for me, it's Gate 3. And it brings in the energy of the Fool. And I've talked about the energy of the Fool before, this archetype of the Fool. I'll explain what that is. But it holds this shadow of chaos and this gift of innovation. But the lesson, really, it's to lead with childlike wonder. That's kind of the energy of this gate. It's the energy of the Fool. And the lesson I keep learning is that innovation doesn't come through control. I've had an episode about control before. It comes through surrender. And so the Fool teaches us to walk into the unknown with the eyes of a child, with wonder, with curiosity, with no attachment to the past, and also no obsession with the future. She doesn't need proof to take the leap. It's just based on her aliveness and what feels good for her in the moment. And so right now, that's what God is asking of me. Can you let go of how it's been so you can become who you're meant to be? And there are these things, the ways of being and doing that I'm still clinging to, that I know are what's holding me back. And because this isn't the first time I've been here, right? I've felt this pull before to stop doing the things that once worked, but now feel like resistance or feel heavy, to kind of break the rules that I wrote for myself at some point, in a different version of me, in a different version of my business, and to release the strategy that used to feel magnetic and used to feel like this is right for me, but now it feels like friction. There's always been something in me, this mental loop that creeps in, like this is the only way it will work. You have to do it this way. Also, at the same time, this isn't working. You need to try harder. You're falling behind. And so when I look deeper, obviously these things aren't the truth, but this is Gene Key 24 in action, because the shadow of Gate 24 is what I'm moving through in the second eclipse, which is happening in the 20-something. The shadow of that gate is addiction. And it doesn't mean you have to be addicted to substances, but to thoughts. And that's what's coming up for me. It's the mental loops that feel familiar, even when they limit us. Because remember, familiar is what's comfortable to us. And it's not just my loop. That's what I want to bring to you in this, because many of us are addicted to these thoughts, the thoughts that I just mentioned, and thoughts like, I have to do it all myself. It's not safe to slow down. If I stop or rest, I'll lose momentum. If I don't do it the right way, it won't work. If I don't do it this way, it won't work. If I'm not visible, I'll be forgotten. If I'm not visible, I'll be insignificant. I have to be, right? All of these things that they play in the background like elevator music. It's like just the programming that's constantly there running in the background. And you may not even realize that it's on until you feel the anxiety, the urgency, or the fear, the scarcity that's driving your decisions. It's our addiction to thoughts. So I want to invite you to ask yourself, what is your loop? What's the thought loop that you are addicted to? What's the thought you keep repeating even when your body says it's not true? And you know in your soul that it's not true, but it keeps repeating. What are you addicted to believing even though it keeps you out of alignment? This is the invitation of this eclipse portal for me, and I want to offer it to you. Not to hustle into this new version of you that you really want to step into, but to see the patterns that you've outgrown that aren't serving you and release those thoughts that no longer serve you and they no longer deserve to be in your energy field. Like you are so far past that, you're so far beyond these thought patterns and these thought loops. So I want to bring these two pieces together because the fool archetype, right? She doesn't need to be certain. She just feels that truth in her body. And she goes into the unknown with excitement and curiosity. She's that whisper that's saying this way, go this way, even if it's unfamiliar, even if it's scary, even if it's not linear, even if it doesn't make sense, logical sense, even if you don't have a plan. That's the full archetype. It's the invitation for all of us, really. And I invite you into that for this season. Not to leap into the next strategy, but just to trust and let this be a portal, and to be able to embrace silence to make space for invention. Let that leap be for you to accept the silence, and let that be what leads you into your next level of creativity and invention. And let it be from this place of just knowing in your body, even when it doesn't make logical sense in your mind, even if it doesn't make sense to other people, letting go of that. That could also be a thought loop. You hear other people's opinions and thoughts about what you're doing and it doesn't make sense. Maybe that's what's looping in your head. And I don't want this to be something where you feel like you have to abandon what you've built. It's not about abandoning everything. It's just about surrendering and letting go of who you had to be to build it up into this point. You can also let go of that version of you. These patterns, these thought loops served a purpose for a while, and they had to get you to where you are now. But now it's time to move past it. And this eclipse season is calling us into these transitions. And I want you to know that you can claim this energy, that you can become who you were always meant to be, because sometimes it starts with just being brave enough to hear your own thoughts, but also being brave enough to stop believing them. This is the art of becoming, my friend. This is the art of becoming. We can be brave enough to hear those thoughts and hear those thought loops, and we can be brave enough to stop believing them and to start believing something else. So I invite you into this eclipse season, whether you follow astrology or not. Let this be the energy you're taking with you into this weekend. And let the Fool walk with you. Embrace that archetype within you of the Fool. Curiosity and excitement and fun and the mind of a child through the eyes of a child. Like, let's see the world through the eyes of a child. And let the silence lead you into something entirely new, and let the Fool walk with you to get there. I hope this serves you this week, and I'll see you on the next one.